The path to mastery leads through the heart of adversity. Challenge is the raw material from which courage and strength are forged. Warriors are not defined by events. Warriors define them. Warriors conquer themselves before all else. Warriors are relentless in their service to others. Join us as we open our hearts and hone our minds to a razor's edge. It doesn't matter how slow you go, only that you do not stop. Your time is now. And now your host, Jason McKenzie.
Hey everybody, this is going to be something a little bit different. Well, it's probably going to be something that's actually kind of the same, but I've just started thinking about things a little bit differently. So instead of calling these microdoses, I really am thinking about making a bit of a change, or actually a fundamental change to the Mental Health Warriors podcast, and really focusing much more on emotional excellence. But I'm still thinking through that idea. But stay tuned for an announcement I would expect pretty soon. So I've been really going down the rabbit hole on this concept, and it's something I want to explore a lot more. But regardless, where am I going with this? Oh yeah, so I wanted to get into the idea of those moments that we all have when we are confronted with the fact that the idea or the concepts that we've been spouting and just repeating for a long time, when you really realize you don't know what you're talking about and how to handle that. Because I've come to the point where I feel like that is a glorious experience when that happens. And that is radically different from the way I would have looked at that in the past, which is much more, I would have been embarrassed. I would have doubled down. So I have an opinion. Somebody challenges me about it, and challenging in a constructive way. It doesn't have to be some kind of challenge to, aggressive type of challenge, but if an idea, somebody challenges it. And then what I would have done in the past was I would have been really doubled down on the certainty that my idea was right, and really been trying to convince the other person to see my point of view. And so I've really changed that, and it really makes oh my God, I can't believe how many times I said really in that last 15 seconds. But it makes it so much easier to learn, right? Because I have found, and I continue to find, that my learning happens during conversations with people. It happens between one-on-one or group dialogue, and it happens in the moment. And we always talk about in the mastermind about how meaning is made in conversation. And I literally feel putting a number on it, I guess, is kind of pointless, but regardless, I'm going to do it. So I really think 95% of the learning that I have had in the past few years has happened during conversations with people. And it's, two ideas, creating an environment where two people can talk openly and exchanging ideas and thinking about their ideas in the context of your ideas, your beliefs, listening to their experiences, how they help shape their ideas, and how their ideas help them look at the world, and comparing them and meshing them together and all that stuff. That's when some fucking magic happens, right? And so let me tell you about this quick story that I had, I guess it was last week or maybe the week before. I was talking to my mother-in-law, and we were having a great conversation, and we were talking about having expectations of other people. And I was saying a line that I've been spouting for a long time about, not having expectations of other people. And regardless, she challenged me on that and said, I don't actually agree with that. And then she gave her point of view. And then I immediately started trying to convince her about my point of view, until I realized that, and I actually stopped in the middle of the conversation. I said, God, I actually don't think I know what I'm talking about on this issue. And it was this awesome moment to realize that I've been, spouting a line that sounded good, but I didn't fully, and it may make sense, but I don't fully understand it enough to be able to defend it, right? So it caused this, it gave us the opportunity to have this really cool conversation about the ideas, and I felt like I understood them more. But it took me being able to realize that, man, I actually don't understand this concept at all. And then looking at that moment as an opportunity to learn rather than, as a challenger being exposed as a person who doesn't know what I'm talking about. So, and it was enlightening, because I think what happens a lot of times is if you sound confident in what you're talking about, and it sounds, I think a lot of it is if you sound confident and you know what you're talking about, people don't question it, or they might question it in their own heads, but they don't have enough of their own self-confidence to be able to challenge it or ask you to explain it more because, maybe they're afraid of it being, maybe they're afraid of it turning into a confrontation of some sort or whatever. So what happens is sometimes you can get caught up in like your own little echo chamber, right? Where you're repeating these ideas and they sound good and you're not really challenging yourself because they make sense to you. And then nobody else is challenging you either. And so you end up repeating these things and you don't have this catalyst or trigger to dig more deeply into the issue. So I give my mother-in-law, shout out to Judy, a lot of credit for actually challenging me on that. And it helped me deepen my understanding of a specific issue. So, which is again about having expectations of other people, but I still realize I don't understand it that well. So it's something I need to think about more, but I think how this ties into the idea of emotional excellence, which I'm really thinking about as, high levels of self-awareness, self-mastery, and consistently finding opportunities to selflessly serve other people. I think it ties into the idea of emotional excellence because the ability to recognize that every moment is an opportunity to learn something new. And especially every interaction with another human being is an opportunity to not only understand them better and form, a deeper, more meaningful human connection and talk about real shit. It's also an opportunity for you to learn and recognize that your current level of understanding over a specific issue might not be where you'd like it to be, or there might be an opportunity to either slightly or radically transform it. And that happening is not an indication. Well, it might be an indication that you don't have a deep understanding of the issue, but it's not an indictment about you as a human being and that you're dumb and that you don't have your shit together. It's just simply an interesting opportunity to learn, and the other person has an interesting point of view. And when you think about it that way, you can really start chewing on some of this stuff and making sense of it and connecting dots that you couldn't have connected before. And all doing it while creating a deeper relationship at the same time. Because when the person that you're talking to recognizes that you're the type of person who will actually listen, and have a conversation about their point of view, it's a great feeling for them. And it's also a great feeling for them to realize that they can make a contribution, or that they have made a contribution to helping another human being think about things differently. And it makes them feel valuable and feel like they've contributed. And those are also great. They're great feelings to have. And they're the gift that your curiosity can give to another person, right? Is by being open and receptive to hearing their ideas, because that makes the other person feel valuable and like and empowered and worthy and all of those things, right? And so when I talk about ways of selflessly serving other people, I'm not talking about like necessarily starting a charity or a soup kitchen and serving people that way. Although if you want to do that, more power to you. But I'm talking about finding the opportunities in the day-to-day moments to serve other people, like actually being curious enough to listen to their point of view. When you start looking for opportunities to serve at that level, at that, maybe more micro level than some giant project, that's when you really start to get some traction. And that's when you start to see opportunities to serve other people everywhere. So anyways, that's kind of, I guess that's really all I have to say about the issue, is that emotional excellence is built in each moment. And that if you fundamentally choose to look at the world in a way from the perspective of curiosity and the perspective that every interaction is an opportunity to deepen your knowledge, either through helping you better understand an issue and sometimes fundamentally transforming your view on an issue altogether. If you look at the world that way, man, it's a great lens through which to create meaning and conversation and connection and relationships with people. And that's ultimately what leads you to start getting momentum and start spinning the flywheel on creating a different life. So that's my blurb on emotional excellence today. So be curious, everybody. God, curiosity, deep, unabashed curiosity is one of the foundational pieces for living a life of exploration and connection. So Emotional Excellence series, or episode number 1. I hope you enjoyed it, and look for a serious and significant announcement about the future of this podcast in the coming weeks. Could be days, could be weeks. Depends how quickly I get my shit together. All right, guys, thanks a lot.